Ever since its release, SmartLess has been topping the podcast charts. In this video, we'll take a look at what they do well and discover 7 things that we can learn from the show. SmartLess is a podcast hosted by Jason Bateman, Arnett and Sean Hayes, and its intent is to connect and unite people from all walks of life to learn about shared experiences simply through conversation. The podcast has a conversational, humorous tone, as you would expect from these 3 hosts, and features a new celebrity guest each week. The guest is picked by one of the hosts and is a surprise to the other 2.
My name is Jason Bateman.
My name is Sean Hayes.
I'm Arnett, and I'm an what am I saying?
Oh, no. You're not at a meeting right now.
You're not in a meeting.
You're doing a trailer for a podcast.
Got it? This summer, because it is this summer.
And this is a podcast, it's not a film, so we don't need like an in-a-world trailer.
Right, we don't have to be like, this summer, our new podcast drops, I guess. Would it be drop?
That's too hip.
Yeah, it's too hip.
This trailer includes all of the elements of a good podcast trailer. It immediately introduces the hosts, they go on to talk about why the podcast was created, and they then relay what the podcast is about. While they are relaying all of this, they're demonstrating the most important thing: their host dynamic. Their banter makes the entertaining nature of the show clear from the beginning, so the listener knows what to expect. The trailer is the first thing that most new listeners will hear. Make sure to use this opportunity to demonstrate to the audience what the vibe of the show is right away. It's tricky to have 3 hosts without talking over each other, especially when you add in a guest. When you listen to SmartLess, you'll hear that they don't ever talk over each other for more than a couple seconds. Somebody always gives up the talking stick. Use visual cues to communicate non-verbally with your co-host. Try leaning into the mic when you have something to say and leaning away when you're done. This will take some time to get the hang of, but make sure to make it a priority. If you look at all of the guests that they have on the show, you will realize that they are all guests with a personality that fit in well with the dynamic of the 3 hosts. They are guests that are great on talk shows, have great banter, and have a good story to tell. So by choosing your guests wisely based on how well they will fit into the conversation, you'll be sure to create an entertaining episode. Whenever the hosts refer to the listeners throughout an episode, they always refer to them in singular form.
Let's take a second here and thank that single listener we have out there. Mr. or Mrs., thank you.
More often than not, people will be listening to a podcast alone. So, by addressing the individual listener rather than the listeners as a whole, it gives that listener more of a feeling of being involved in the conversation rather than just being part of the audience. In SmartLess, all guests call into the show on a video call rather than coming into a studio. This gives the show better access to high-profile guests with busy schedules because they can participate from the comfort of their own home. By allowing your guests to stay home for the recording, this can also make them feel more comfortable. Check out Riverside.fm for the best remote recording solution. SmartLess has a YouTube channel full of additional content for their listeners. The first thing that I want to note is that they have promos for every episode. They post these promos as normal videos, but they also keep them under a minute long so that they can post them as YouTube shorts and reach a bigger audience. By having episode promos, it gives the listener an idea of what the episode is about before they commit their time to it. When you keep them under a minute, they're repurposable on various social media channels that allow you to reach bigger audiences, like Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. The hosts used to go live on their social media channels to talk about recent and upcoming episodes and engage with fans in real time. By going live, it's an extra form of content that's incredibly easy to produce and allows you to get feedback and connect with your listeners in real time, creating a feeling of community. Check out Riverside's live streaming feature to see how you can go live simultaneously across multiple different social media channels so that you can reach all of your social audiences. There you go. That's 7 actionable tips that you can take away from the SmartLess podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to be notified every time we post a new video that will help you take your content to the next level.